What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Singlish Podcast. It is your girl Kelsey here, and y'all, I had to stop my regularly scheduled program to talk about this. As we're entering into a new season of the podcast, we're definitely going to get into more juicier topics, and we're going to get definitely talk about some more things. We just got through the basics, okay? But yeah, I had to stop and talk about this because I was triggered, I was upset, I was mad, I was like everything else in between. So I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch the Who the Fuck Did I Marry series on TikTok, but y'all, the fact that it had 52 parts or like 50 parts to it was already a lot. I don't know why sis didn't just upload the whole thing to YouTube and just keep us in just keep everything together. But she had the Saints in a chokehold for what felt like 24 hours, just waiting to hear what was next. Now by no means am I bashing her, um, because we've all been in situations, maybe not to this extreme, but definitely a situation that started out like this. um so I don't want y'all to think that I'm definitely like bashing her for any reason. So I just want to start by saying that. But yeah, I was triggered. Definitely I was triggered. So first of all, she's gorgeous in her own right, okay? Um and I want us to be free from the shackles of um wanting just something just to say that we have it, right? And this is one of the reasons again why I'm still in the singlish phase, because you have to be careful when you're dealing with certain people. um I've heard, I forgot where I heard it from, but they always say that you always meet the representative first before you actually meet the real person. So I want us as women and men too to just be free from the shackles of knowing the representative versus the real person before we get too far gone into anything with these people. But anyway, to recap her story, if you have not had a chance to listen to it, this girl basically did a lot, like just a whole lot. We talked about red flags, and the red flags was just red. They was just like real red, and she just bypassed it. So she initially said that they met on two different forms of social media dating, one on Facebook dating and Hinge. I didn't even know Facebook had a dating site, to be honest. Um but I have heard of Hinge before. And she met the same man on two different profiles. Y'all already know how I feel about dating apps, so yeah, there's that. But yeah, she met him on two different dating sites, and she, had the conversations. Make it worse, this is all during the pandemic, started a pandemic. So everything that she probably would have normally done slowly had to kind of ramp up because of the whole pandemic. We had to shelter in place and all of that. So she said the first sign that she bypassed was her tire blowing out on 285. Now, this lady is in Georgia. And, you know, that would have been my telltale sign to be like, all right, listen. But he was an absolute gentleman. So I could see how she would want to, indulge him in going forward with the process. And before I continue, all of this shit happened within a year from her meeting him to dating him to divorcing him. All of that happened in a year, which is wild to me, but whatever. So he meets her and changes her tire, and they go out on their date or whatever to the same cheesecake factory that another girl on social media was flaming a nigga about for taking her to a cheesecake factory. But okay, whatever. Continue. She then goes on to say about the whole house situation, and then the whole, you know, not having a place to stay and staying in the same clothes, and just going through the whole divorce decree, showing up at her house, and just y'all, it was just a lot, a lot to deal with. And the only reason why I got triggered is because I almost had a similar situation. um we have to be careful about being easily manipulated by these men. especially the ones that really don't have much going for themselves. They want to show everything, they want to brag about everything, and they want to say one thing and then they're doing something completely different. So I just want us to pay attention to that and be mindful of that. Um, to kind of expound on the whole stuff that she went through as far as the whole house situation, that was just wild to me. Being that I'm a person that went through the house buying a house process years ago. I mean, obviously that process doesn't change, but you know, the letter, they actually showed the letter on TikTok. So this man actually revealed his identity on TikTok as a quote unquote response to her videos, which was the dumbest thing he could have done. But he actually showed the letter that Chase quote unquote wrote to him saying that he was approved for the $750,000 mortgage. Child, that letter just screams forgery. Okay, there's commas missing. There's just, it's not on official letterhead. And someone on TikTok even confirmed that that was not on official letterhead. Child, that just screams scam all the way through. And $750,000, like, wow, okay, really? Had this girl go through the entire buying a house process, you playing in this girl face with realtors and all this other stuff. Y'all, I was like, I was really triggered because like the housing, buying a house, I don't know if you've guys gone through the housing buying a house process, but that is a process within itself. Okay, you know, and I'm pretty sure during the pandemic it was probably even worse because you couldn't physically go into the house. And she did say that at one point, that one of the houses that she really wanted, the people that were selling it were still living there, so she couldn't physically go into it to see it. But either way, just buying a house in general is just a very tedious process. And the simple fact that she wasn't aware of what the process looked like, he played that to his advantage. To try to get her to believe certain things when it was all a lie to begin with. Um, which I truly hate that for her. Um, what I am most happy about is that she was able to divorce that nigga. Good for her. Um, and then the simple fact that it's multiple women that have been bamboozled by this nigga, like, come on. Come on. Like I really need for everybody to, look at his face and just be aware because we do not need any more stories like this at all. About women just being essentially swindled by people like him. And again, when you are a manipulator, and essentially he's a narcissist, let's just call a spade a spade. When you are a manipulator and you use women like this to, just get your way and be able to live off of certain things, that is really truly something that, you as a man, woman, whoever, do some introspection because, you know, just do better. Um, One of the main reasons why I got triggered, and I told someone that I would unpack this in a future episode. Now is the time. So I almost got into a situation similar to this. Thankfully, my time frame was not a year. It was less than 6 months, but definitely everything that she said that happened to her pretty much almost happened to me. Um, he was trying to rush the marriage conversation and was kind of rushing into, living together and um, just everything that Mr. Legion was presenting himself to be is literally what was presented to me. And all of that happened within 5 months. Um, Thankfully, I had that discernment, and I always say all the time, use your discernment. If you ask God for it, you will get it. Thankfully, I had discernment and I was able to realize what was going on. And thank God for my mother too, y'all. Y'all, those of y'all who know my mom for real know my mom is real big on, if my spirit don't give, it's for a reason. So thank God for my mom, y'all, because she was another one that said to me, you know, leave that nigga alone. Plus, there was a lot of telltale signs similar to what she had, that I also experienced as well, that kind of also let me know, okay, hey, stop, do not pass go, do not collect $200. go ahead and end this right now. And like her and the other women that were involved as well, I could see how it's also a fearful situation, because you don't know how they're going to respond, you don't know how they're going to react, you don't know what it is that they're going to do in response to what you are doing, that is best for yourself. So again, shout out to her for um, taking the necessary steps to get away from him, or taking the necessary steps to just completely remove herself from that situation. A year too long, but again, these were telltale signs that she got in the beginning, and she even took accountability, which is what I liked about her too. She took accountability for everything and everywhere that she went wrong in this entire situation. She didn't put full blame on him. But she also said, all right, this is where I messed up at, and this is what I should have done better, which is something that when you're a person that's growing, that's what you should be doing anyway, taking accountability in everything that you're doing. So shout out to her for that as well. But I wanted to just stop and talk about it, because those of you guys that know my story, we were talking about healing in private and stuff in the last episode. If you haven't had a chance to go listen to that, go listen to that. But we're talking about healing and stuff like that. All of that takes a place in knowing who and what is for you. I've always said this before as well too. Know your limits and know what it is that you're doing when it comes to that. um with all of that being said, right? Make sure that you're paying attention to the person. If your spidey senses, as I like to call them, are going off, guys, pay attention to them, please. They're not going off. Sometimes they may be a little bit off or wrong, sometimes depending on the person. They may actually be a genuine person. But if you're getting the same signs and the same, okay, stop, don't do it, don't go past go signs, y'all, please listen to that. That is being told to you for a reason. Okay, and I'm pretty sure if she listened to all of those signs that she got in the beginning, then she would have been able to move forward with her life in a more peaceful manner. Child, when she said she called the cops, I was like, the fact that the police chief was on top of it too, like, that goes to show you how crazy this nigga is. Like, really crazy. Like, you gotta call the police, like, bro, come on. But like I said, I just wanted to stop for a second and just talk about it, because it had Instagram and social media in a frenzy. When I say a frenzy, it had the Saints in a choke hole for real. So in unpacking just a little bit of my story and her story, again, I saw myself in her, because like I said, I just literally finished dealing with a situation almost identical to that. um Again, not to those full lengths, but definitely identical to that. Y'all just pay attention, just be aware. If these signs are signing, listen to them, they're there for a reason. um and like I said, it's about to get juicy as we move forward into this newer season of the podcast. I'm telling you, we're about to have some good conversation. We was already having good conversation. We're about to have even better conversations. And y'all, like I said, just be singlish and own it, y'all, and go be great.